I just simply can't believe both of these teams have the potential to drop down to gold, man. Like, it just seems absurd, put simply, but I guess at the same time makes it that much more exciting and interesting, Breaky. So I'm literally on the edge of my seat because I can't wait to sort of find out this matchup.
See, BMG, they were the craziest thing about this too. BMG was here last cycle. They were actually in the first round losers bracket last cycle. Of course, they got upset by Shrek is Love in the first round. Now, that was definitely, I think, a little bit crazier in that sense, or a little bit more like, well, definitely a shocker as far as, oh, wow, they lost to them. But again, looking at these brackets here, it's not like they lost to fluke teams in a sense. Again, nothing against Shrek is Love, but that was crazy. Null still lost to Reason Gaming, a Reason Gaming team that's definitely come back strong. They grinded through gold once again. They're clearly a very powerful team here going into this cycle. BMG lost to Willowkeeper. I mean, that just happens to be the matchups that they had because of where they placed previously. And in Nullstone's case, they happened to get matched up against Reason because, well, that's just how it fell right there. So, so looking at it from that perspective, in a sense, it's not too crazy, I guess, that we have this matchup in a losers bracket round one. But it still is pretty mind-boggling. But anyways, I'm expecting a pretty solid best out of three. No doubt both of these teams going to be giving an A-plus effort here. At least I would hope for that, especially with what is on the line here. Yeah, I was just confirming, by the way, BMG is second place. Or actually, according to the points, BMG is actually third place. Willowkeeper just barely above them now. Nostone's fourth place. So, again, these are 3-4 teams right now in the standing. So, crazy stuff.
So close.
It is.
But, I mean, bands come out, though, and quite regular, quite normal. Obviously, Swiftblade, Affiliate, Cthulhu, and Parasite. No big sort of surprise there. Heroes just too strong at the moment. An interesting second pick Torture, though. I don't know, maybe because the only thing I could really understand why they picked up second pick Torture is that they just like the hero compared to some of the other support heroes, because I really don't think Torture is that big of a sort of power level to really warrant a second pick, but nonetheless. And there's kind of that counter pick with the Electrician though against the Keeper of the Forest. Like, we might even see a staff just so it can stop that. Obviously stop the root coming out, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they've done that before. We've definitely talked about that. Also, of course, against the likes of Silhouette. We have seen that before. But yeah, in this case, gets the Keeper root. Pretty powerful tool to have, as you mentioned, with the Staff of the Master. And, I want to say even last time they had something like Electrician on the team, they also ran that Lord Cell Force, I believe. So I kind of wonder, I don't know if there's necessarily synergy between the two heroes, but other than, just being more, exactly, kind of being that tank meta that you were so adamant about. When we were seeing that a couple cycles ago. Dr. Repulsor, the final pick here, coming out for Bad Monkey Gaming. I mean, you do see, obviously, a lot of stuns already on Nullstone, but at the same time, Doctor, hey, it's hard to go wrong with the Dr. Repulsor in the end, so pretty comfortable pick up there.
He can pick up a Shrunken Head, and also, like, he can juke a lot of these sort of stuns outside of maybe, like, the Electrician. So. But yeah, I mean, I would actually like to see Nullstone pick up some kind of like hard carry-esque kind of hero, because, like, particularly with the Electrician, like the Keeper of the Forest route is, in some respects, better than a 10% sort of lockdown sort of carries, because it can obviously, he can hit while obviously the route is still going off, and for the carries on his own CV, it works quite well. But obviously, Nullstone picks up Electrician here, so he can counter that by quite a bit. And for Nullstone, if they picked up some kind of hard carry, I think it'd be working quite well in terms of team fights, because the Electrician pick is just that big of a counter to Keep of the Forest. Like, since obviously his sort of Nature's Vow got a little bit nerfed and his laning presence, like literally, or most of the time, he only offers the route. And if you pick a hero that can counter that, then the effectiveness of Keep of the Forest is kind of come into question sometimes. So.
Yeah, Keeper definitely not your go-to nowadays. That's very true as far as seeing a whole lot. I mean, it kind of seems like he brought back a little bit, but lately not as much. So it's kind of an up and down case here. But again, seeing that Electrician, going to be interesting to see how he's able to face off against it. The band's finishing up here pretty much. You see the right click on the Yogi right there. That is right. No, is there really no ban on Yogi yet? Oh my gosh. Chipper, Legionnaire, Tempest, Dark Lady, and Pebbles being banned out so far. There's the bubble, so they're not going to ban the Yogi. All right. We'll see if they get their hands on it. It's risky. It's very risky against Nullstone especially.
And I think actually Oogie would work quite well here, though, because like he's kind of a natural Hellflower / Sheepstick sort of carrier, and both of those items work so well against Dr. Repulsor. So, and at the same time, when you pick up an Oogie, like Dr. Repulsor really wants to sort of go for pickoffs and go for sort of solo kills, but I mean you would not be able to get solo kills on Oogie. So I think it would work decent here. Also, obviously, although Oogie isn't like a Shrunken Head or Geo's sort of Bane carrier to sort of get out of the Keep of the Forest, you've got the Electrician there to get out of the route anyway. So, yeah, I would really like to see Oogie here. They might have to run a secondary support just to sort of secure the farm on him, but I think it's worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's Nullstone. So.
Yeah. There you go. It's just like, yeah, it was just so obvious. And part of me wonders if Tankafet just almost that slipped his mind. I mean, because again, Oogie's not your typical picked up a lot hero. And, you know, last cycle they did get knocked out fairly earlier on. This is maybe me just, you know, spitting whatever.
No, I think it's definitely a warranted point, because the reason being is that Tankafet has obviously had a lot of. I don't think they've matched up in Nullstone 2 recently. Like, since they've been playing Oogie, I don't think they've played it too.
You know what? At the same time, the more I'm thinking about it, didn't they match up last cycle, though, in the...
no, you are right. No, yeah, you are right. And this is the major versus Oogie, and Oogie just wrecked them.
And I'm pretty sure they ran... Exactly. So now that pretty much cancels out the statement I was just making right there.
Yeah.
The more I thought about it. But so I mean, that's evidence, though, that BMG is pretty confident that they're not too worried about the Oogie here. With not addressing it even through the second tier of bans. Oh, nice little fans out there.
I know, he's so nice.
Look at a little stream going on. Rhapsody going to be the 4th pick coming out for Recent Gaming, so of course you get their support option. The fact that she's still left open too is pretty crazy. But
yeah, man, it's crazy. Like back in the day, like everyone was like, "Oh, Rhapsody." Well, I was saying it as well, like Rhapsody OP. But I guess the meta sort of changed, and the team fight and / push meta has kind of faded away, kind of thing. So you can see less of her. But I think she's still a great support hero nonetheless, and particularly with Kraken as well. Like it just pairs so well. The staccato just it's so easy sort of to land the charge and the splash. So
yeah.
Solstice. Man, we've been seeing a lot more Solstice. Obviously, Sync have been picking up as well. And
saw that a couple times yesterday against Rexars, game 2 and 3, I believe it was, as they did. Kinesis, you know, somewhat of a snap pick there. Pretty quick response coming out for Recent Gaming to finish it off. We did see them run Kinesis yesterday, I believe, at least once.
Yeah. I like this pick actually because he's going to be most likely 1v1 against Oogie in the bottom lane, and like I said before, Kinesis, Rich Hag, and even Chipper can suicide, but mainly only if they're 1v1. In this case, it is going to be 1v1. He obviously has to be a little bit careful of like any sort of Solstice ganks, but obviously with the nerf to Solstice, he should be in too much danger until like level 6, level 7 on Solstice. So yeah, it's just in terms of the laning phase, I think the hero can work quite well in this matchup.
Yeah. So yeah, but that Solstice coming out, what you got, getting his hands on it, of course. You know, I was honestly thinking Lord South Forest could have been the option here. You know, going up against you know, something like a Rhapsody with the Keep of the Forest, some regen kicking in there, and you know, just going with that tanky idea. Now Solstice somewhat tanky himself, of course, and you know, also applies a good amount of burst damage, especially against like something like a
4 strength heroes, man.
So 4 strength. Hey, there you go. Nullstone loves this, man. That's what they are all about.
Man.
Well, it's technically
it's
3.
Decent.
Oogie's intelligence, right?
Oogie's strength. Huh?
No. Am I okay? Which one of us is blanking out right now?
No, he is.
He is in. Okay.
But his strength gain is practicing.
I mean, yeah, he's in a sense he's strength, but
like his strength gain, I can't remember exactly, but his strength gain
right
is
now.
actually pretty ridiculous.
Oogie's strength gain, 2.8. Yeah, it's actually the highest
really
of all
high.
3 of his stats. As far as the game goes,
I mean.
so yeah, in that sense, you know, it kind of is. That's a good point.
He practically is a strength.
At the same time, intelligence.
It's like the thing.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so it really 4 tanky hero. Well, kind of 3. I mean, Magnus not is considered usually more of a tanky hero.
Yeah, I guess 3.5.
3.5, sure. We'll settle with that.
But it's decent though because like, particularly it's gonna be useful against the Kinesis though because like. Kinesis is a great hero. He offers a lot of burst, and in this lineup, is something that BMG were lacking a little bit. But they're going to have trouble sort of bringing down these tanky heroes so quickly, kind of thing. Same as goes for the Keeper and the Kraken ultimate. Like in the Keeper and Kraken ultimate, like I don't know if they're even going to be able to bring anyone down. Like they don't have that much decent damage. They've got like good lockdown from Kraken and Keeper. Rhapsody is more of a defensive support than, say, Pyromancer, for example. The only one who's really dishing out damage is Kinesis, and he's not going to get too much farm, and Dr. Repulsor needs a bit more farm to really be useful, kind of thing. So, I don't know. They might be in a little bit of lacking in terms of damage, honestly, when it comes to the team fights, particularly if, Nullstone start building sort of tanky items, which normally they do.
Yeah.
Like Electrician normally goes, like, max out mana, so he's tanky. Himself, Oogie's goes Icon, for example. Solstice might go a little bit more DPS, but even he is pretty tanky, so...
Yeah.
just in terms of team fight, they might be lacking a little bit of damage, but we'll have to see.
For those that may have missed yesterday, Wild Ra is now also a part of tournament rules. Of course, the item, 100 gold. Pick it up individually. When you use it, you become invisible. Ward of Sights and Ward of Revelations cannot see you if you happen to run by them. Just simply if you're in range of a tower or a hero, though, as long as they could have been able to see you, you will then become exposed. But we saw it a lot yesterday in terms of moving around, being very active, so definitely expect to look out for it today as far as this match is concerned, starting with this one right here. So, also worth noting the other series going on. Of course, as usual, two best-of-3 series going on here. We got the brackets real quickly. Prime Icarus versus Shrek is Love. Keeping an eye on that. That is actually being covered by St. Rocks, I believe, over there, twitch.tv/St. Rocks, doing the casting thing on that side. So, again, check out that stream as well. Get some dual box going here as far as the matches. Big shout out to all the community casters, definitely helping out. Making sure to get a coverage across the board of all the matches as much as possible, at least. So, but yeah, going back here again, it is a USC server. I take it in. So Haction, making a point right there. It's
Salty.
No Stone, the America.
Hashtag salt.
Yeah. PJ Salt right here. No, but Kinesis actually going to lift one of the minions again. This is definitely a strength. In a sense, it's like, heroes like, you think back, heroes like Tempest especially, he actually used to be ran as a suicide, or not even necessarily, not necessarily suicide.
He did, no.
Well, sometimes, but even if he
Moon
was going jungle, he would actually deny one of the minions for suicide and then just head to the jungle. So that was ultimately the point, but...
Yeah, but sometimes they would actually just run it as a suicide kind of thing. Like, remember Moon would go suicide and things like that. So that they pick up like Tempest and Ophelia, then Moon would just go like suicide Tempest. So.
I even remember when remember specifically...
Like double jungle.
No, well, not only that, but no, WTF actually, he actually ran Parasite Suicide back when you could actually level 1 deny as Parasite. So, and that was kind of interesting to see. But, the level 1 deny aspect, very, very powerful. And again, Kinesis not necessarily denying the creep, but she's, dragging it back, to kind of get that same idea.
Yeah, but I mean, she's actually failed here a little bit because she's got double archer. She's actually, like, I know what you mean, Breaking. It does work, but she's got double archer, and you want to do it like you kind of want to chuck the hero up in the air for like one time, so you chuck it up in the air for like 30 seconds or so, and then it will follow your creep, the next sort of creep wave. But now he's sort of done it a little bit too long, and now he's got double archer, and that's why the lane is sort of as it is. Obviously, Torture's gone and pulled as well, but the pull wasn't even needed. Honestly, they just lost a little bit of lane control, so a little bit of too much lifting just backfired in that respect.
Yeah. Well, getting a little too happy with that key right there, or the W more so.
It's somewhat of a big deal though, because like as long as I think actually the lane's gonna start pushing out again, so scratch that. But it's a little bit annoying though because she can't lane perfectly actually, because she gains a pseudo tri lane as well. Because actually Torture's rotated bottom and they just left Magnus mid. So
now I always find this even today. And I know Beaverbanger is safe to say knows what he's doing on Oogie. It's actually Kinesis getting caught right here. Torture running into an impalement. It's Obligus Solstice blocking, and Kinesis is going to fall right there. I see that the new Ursa Core.
Who is that?
That's the new Ursa Corps.
That's so pro.
Voiceover right there, but announcer pack, yeah, whatever. Anyways, the bloodlust skill is the important thing in favor of Nullstone. Good rotation coming out by Torturer to help him cut him off right there.
She had DD and she thought she was going to be safe, but I mean, when you go into the jungle, like with Torture and Solstice off the map, that's the stuff that can happen.
Yeah. Apparently, BMG not a fan of the server here.
That's why he died.
Yeah,
Lag.
That's why. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's for all we know, there was a little bit of a lag spike, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, I don't think that was a decision that really led to. That. Okay, apparently, so Hacks are just going to make the point and then continue here, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know if they've actually asked for a remake. I think he's just done a lot of making a point that it's bad, but. Hey, what's done is done, I guess. Anyways, moving on here, 2.5 minutes in. I was going to make a point, though, about Oogie being played by Beaverbanger. Again, he clearly knows what he's doing. He's arguably the best Oogie player out there right now. But at the same time, it's kind of interesting with this build, because I know a lot of people like to advocate leveling up the Conflagrate first even. But he actually likes to go the Tarquake. The obvious downside of leveling up a Tarquake initially is that you're going to be using a lot of mana to use it, especially as the charges add up. And she doesn't have the highest mana pool, of course, earlier on. But
yeah, but I mean, it does have the better burst. That's the one thing. Like, so you kind of have two builds. Either you sort of, like you said, you max the Conflagrate and the Kindle Fury and have 1 point in Earthquake, and then you sort of just run them down, kind of thing. But in certain situations, particularly obviously in the competitive games, well, you kind of want to favour the burst over sort of maybe the more DPS. The reason being is because, like for example, if they're tracing trying to kill this Kinesis, if they get 2 or 3 Earthquakes on it, it's going to be quicker to kill her than running her down with Kindle Fury and Conflagrate. And if they did have the max Conflagrate, then there'd be more chance of BMG rotating in with ganks, for example. But if they max the Tarquake, they have the better burst, so they can kill her before any rotations come in, for example. It might not be as mana efficient, but it probably makes the most amount of sense, particularly in competitive games, I do believe.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Again, like I said, it's hard to argue against a player that clearly plays it so well. And it's, if anything, just trying to make a logic of it. And yeah, as you said right there, that's definitely a good reason and definitely makes sense as to why. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's absolutely like you should be building this way, because obviously there's justification for leveling up the Conflagrate as well. But if anything, it comes down to just how you're comfortable playing
personal
how you want
personal
to play
preference as well. It's like sometimes like Magnus will max the Steam Bar for Organic Touch, and even that is like it's to and fro depending on personal preference kind of thing. So.
Apparently, Kraken versus Magnus is actually a pretty popular matchup. They've matched 14 total times, if my math is correct. That's an 8-6 record, though, in favor of Kraken, as far as the overall win and loss is. Now, again, a lot more to that in the end, but...
I mean, normally it's just depend. I think it's quite an even matchup, so if anyone's going to really have a better time, I think I'd make favourite to Magnus just slightly, honestly.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Volcanic Touch can come off a lot more, or it's like it has a less cooldown. Obviously, it doesn't actually have a cooldown, but you compare it to Splash. Like Splash has a cooldown of like 8 or 7 seconds, but Magnus gets the Volcanic Touch every single time to get a last hit, and that's more like 4 or 5 seconds, for example.
Yeah.
So. We might be in trouble, actually.
Yes, he could be a little scared here. I think he's going to be fine, of course, as, he'll just back off in the end. And Refreshment Rune picked up. Invis Rune happens to spawn. Bottom and Torture will gladly pick that up now. I believe, yes, and there's that new radius kicking in. The ward upside did actually spot him picking up that Invis Rune, or at least just barely. So they got to be having a pretty good heads up that he has done that. Now, I wonder if Magnus is close to level 6 here, because if he is, now with Torture coming over, that might delay it a little bit. But once Magnus hits level 6, this could actually be a pretty big kill on a Kraken. Solstice even coming in the vicinity. By the way, Solstice double Gloves of the Swift right here. That probably means he's going the Alchemist Bones.
He's going Bones.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday.
I really don't like it. The one build I really agree with actually is Slap's build. Like he rushes like I think he rushes Abyssal Skull into Insanitarius, and I think it's good because like Solstice, you don't want to play him as like an AFK farm jungler or AFK farm sort of carry in that respect. Like the stun is really really good, particularly if you leave it higher up in the levels. And if he goes like Alchemist Bones here, like oh my god, he used Eruption middle lane.
Oops. That's awkward. Yeah, and as soon as Kraken saw that too, he's like, okay, now I feel a little better about farming. Now, I don't. They're not going to be able to get a kill here. Yeah, there's without the eruption, there was no way.
He's not. He's too tanky. But yeah, going back to the Solstice, I really like the Insanitarius kind of Abyssal Skull build because top lane though, Electrician.
Electrician is in a lot of trouble right here, and yes, he will go down. Haxorn able to take him out. Well played by Dr. Pulse right there.
That's just such a common, like, when Dr. Pulse licks level 6, like, you simply can't suicide against him because all it needs is 1 rotations and you're going to get the kill every single time, kind of thing. And particularly in the top lane as well, when like, the lane positioning is so in favour of Haxorn, like, Fuzzy Sloth, I think you should have played a little bit more defensive after he hits level 6, but nonetheless. But yeah, I'm just going to go back to the Solstice push. Like, you want to be active, you want to be involved, and the Alchemist Bones is not one of those items that allows you to get involved early on. If he picks up maybe like the bottle into Steam Boots in sort of Abyssal Skull and in Sanitarius, then he would be more involved. And like the Alchemist Bones is more of like a hard carry pickup, and I mean he's not the hard carry in this game. That's going to be Oogie. So I have to admit I do disagree with this choice here, but he's still having a good game though. He's farming very very fast, and maybe he feels like he doesn't need to get aggressive early on, so he can pick up the bones instead. So. Yeah,
it seems like Zlap's a big advocate of that because, even thinking about it too, when he plays something like a Legionnaire, he actually likes to get those Ghost Marchers as soon as possible, being able to assist in the lane, get there, and assist out, whereas, we saw Solstice, as you're mentioning too, that same idea, but in this case, what you got, definitely go more the passive route here.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about like the jungler is the secondary support. If you think like if you put it in logic sense, like you are the secondary support, so you don't really want to be AFK farming. You want to be helping your team as much as possible. The aim of the game is not to be farming, is to be sort of helping the other lanes. So.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, though,
you see Electrician right here. So. He's at the Ancients, going to be stacking them as you pointed out. It's And, you know, we've seen it before where they die once and they kind of go back up there trying to, you know, oh, that was a fluke, I'll just try it again. And they die again. You're just like, what are you doing? It's clearly not going to work. He died once, whatever. Now he's just going to make sure not to go back up there. Kind of learning his lesson in a sense. Did Fuzzy's lost. Now, bottom lane, Oogie going over for Kinesis. And look at the Tarquake damage. You talked about that.
That's the burst.
That's why you level it up right there. The burst damage comes out and no chance for Kinesis to get away.
And he doesn't even need to level up the conflagrate, because you said, like, you know, he's got the minus movement speed onto Kinesis. He doesn't need to improve his movement speed at all. He can get kills like that every single day. So,
good execution right there. And you look at Oogie actually surpassing the 400 goal per minute mark as a result of that. So, you know, doing his thing once again. He's got the mana better on top of the Steam Boot. So, early start here. Got the early items. We'll probably see more of that icon of the goddess. That's what he usually goes, I believe. Especially, you know, with a start like this. And of course, makes sense on a hero like Oogie here. Middle lane, Solstice, he's here. It is nighttime, so he's got that fear effect now on the ultimate, but not going to find the opportunity in the meantime.
The Q is so bad, though, level 1. Like, it has absolutely no range. It's like 600 range. Like, you have to be in range of block an ult attack. So it's really hard to gank. Like, you need to be like level 8 or level 9 to have like level 2 or level 3, just because then 200 range is increased per level. But like I said, he's picked up the Alchemist Bones anyway, so he can just AFK farm if he wants to. And I mean, all the other lanes are doing decently, so you know, he has the ability to keep on farming. And it'd be kind of a hard gank. Like, ganking mid is a little bit hard. Bottom is fine because, I mean, Oogie doesn't even need the gank. He can kill him by himself. So he's fine to AFK farm in the jungle in the meantime.
How's this middle matchup going overall? 51-8 Magnus. You got to crack it as 36-2. So wow, Magnus really having a good time here in this middle lane. I think Torture has been babysitting a little bit here as things have picked up, so perhaps explains it a little more. But that's a very good start for Magnus. He must be pretty close. He's got a lot of build up here, so about 800 more gold saved up now. So probably going to get the portal key next in line, but he's getting that gold invested first elsewhere, of course. Keeper of the Forest, can't forget about him. He's been doing the passive jungle thing as expected. He's level 8 currently. No push top tower yet. What do you think about that? Usually by now you think they would have pushed the top tower.
Yeah, and I don't really know why they haven't really rotated and try at least put some pressure on it. Like, Electrician can't stay in the top lane, so I think they should try and put pressure onto it. Maybe they want to get Doctor sort of some reliable farm. Like, if they start taking it or start pressuring the tower, then there might be some rotations over. But I do think you're right, though. I think they should start maybe pressuring it because Electrician's not going to form any kind of basis. Magnus doesn't have his portal key yet, and Solstice has gone, Bones, so you can't really get involved either. And I don't think Oogie's going to rotate over just with the Torturer to try and defend a tower. So I think they should try and rotate over. But at the same time, they're doing fine in that respect. Like, they're getting good farm on Doctor, and they're getting decent farm on Tank Fit as well. I think they don't want to take the risk, put simply.
Yeah. So. Kinesis over at the Ancients right here. Going to go away for the 10-minute rune. It's refreshment currently, but of course that'll despawn, and new one will take its place. So it just happens to be another refreshment rune. The new one, regen rune, happens to be top here. And actually Kraken going to head up there and full bottle, but still will gladly pick up that regen rune. Be able to try to make use of it eventually. Oogie bought something. What is being delivered? It looks like, okay, the Gnome's Wisdom. That's right. That's what he usually likes to go for.
Yeah, it's kind of cool actually. I mean, like the item just has such great synergy with the hero. That like you spend so much mana, and then obviously you get the health coming out from how much mana you use. So, and then obviously he gets all the health back from Primal Surge as well. So it's just like he's like a healing machine kind of thing. It's just a really great synergy altogether.
Yeah. See here, going to be delivered. I mean, nobody. This is kind of an interesting game because bottom lane and top lane are basically empty by the other team. You got Dr. Pulsar just free farming. You got Oogie just free farming. So it's a case of the free farming.
What I'd actually love, I would like to see them to have a bit more efficiency. I'd like to see Torture and Magnus rotate over into the Ancients and then give Electrician the farm mid. I mean, it might be a little bit risky because, I mean, Electrician could easily die to Kraken and Rhapsody, but at the same time, like, Electrician isn't able to really do anything kind of thing. He's going to have to share the jungle with the Solstice. So just in terms of raw efficiency, I think they should have rotated Electrician mid and Magnus Torture do the Ancients for like 30 seconds or so. But, they are rotating over, so this might be what they're doing now.
There we go.
Yep. On Q, man. On Q.
Yep. Triple stack Ancients. I'm sure we're going to see that eruption coming out here. Because once he uses that, cleans out these Ancients, that will definitely be a portal key. Now, they're not doing it just yet, actually. Maybe waiting.
They're going to do it with Electrician as well.
Okay.
Then. Yeah. And that works as well, because like Electrician can't really get a CS, because if he crouches up onto the creep wave, like Electrician's just going to charge him and kill him anyway.
Is he not going to eruption? Okay, he's not going to eruption, actually. Never mind.
Doesn't need to with Electrician now.
So, yeah. Stun coming up. I'm just going to make sure that he gets at least a majority of them. It looks like he is. So yeah, a good amount of farm coming out there. I guess so. Not a portal key though. Actually, no, Electrician got a good amount of them. I thought he was yellow, but no, yeah, I saw a lot of yellow numbers popping up there. And so that means Electrician actually got a good couple of the last hits. So perhaps preventing Magnus from getting the portal key. And that's a little bit of a miscue.
Oh, look at Oogie.
Look though. Yeah, that's crazy. He just steals a triple stack.
They're coming over.
They are coming though. Now it's only 4 is up. It's only going to be up for 4 more seconds though. Is this going to come at a cost? It looks like it. Mass Control releases a crack on Beaverbanger. The lockdown is too much. He cannot get away. I mean, they blew everything, but hey, they had to, and they get the kill on Oogie. But he was able to at least clear the triple stack agents before, though, so it's not like the worst thing in the world. But
no. It wasn't too bad, but greed is feed, man. Greed is feed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the... They did obviously take out the double stack agents, and I think he probably farmed as much as he lost in terms of gold. So it wasn't too bad, I guess. But it is kind of obvious that he wrote... Like, they have kind of like a ward over here. I think they had a ward over there, and they didn't obviously see Oogie go back, so... As a result, they did catch him.
Yeah, you see here, Electrician in the middle lane now, trying to bait something out here, clearly. Well, maybe. I mean, Torture kind of nearby backup, but Magnus, no, that's an illusion, so never mind. Just going to kind of scout some information. The real Magnus does have the portal key, and trying to make sure he's hidden here. I don't know if he actually might have been spotted right there. He kind of stepped up a little bit. Again, he's got the portal key now and ready to jump in if it calls for it. All 5 are actually here for the Legion side, so this could be pretty big. I think that might be actually the final pause for BMG, so I'm going to be careful with that at this point. Hopefully,
been like mid-wars this last, 20 minutes.
It really has been. I mean, yeah, again, with Dr. Farm and top, Boogie Farm and bottom, just free farm, a lot of people have been just in the middle of the map here, yeah.
I mean, what you could even see, though, is maybe like Nullstone, or even BMG, they could do it themselves. If they smoke into the jungle and try and take out one of the junglers, you kill Keeper the Forest or Solstice. I mean, it's not the easiest kill, obviously, but it might be better than just try and throw yourselves at mid. But they are going to go mid, though, but they don't really have the greatest sieging mechanic. But at the same time, BMG don't have the greatest, counter push, so
yeah,
it might be taken out. I mean, they have the Torturers, actually, empowerment, so... Not too bad, and I guess they don't want to fight without Astrolabe on Keeper and Portal Key on Kraken. Probably the safe play to make, to be honest.
Yeah.
Portal Key's on Magnus and Portal Key's not on Kraken, but they're definitely going to try and defend tier 2 though, because they'll have both of those items most likely. Kraken's like 20 gold away, so...
Yeah, it's getting close, but is it going to be quick enough? Okay, there's the top tower kill, so yeah, he has enough for the Portal Key now. He's going to purchase it. He needs a delivered still. The Courier actually coming over. Magnus stunts in, though. There's a lockdown on the Rhapsody from Electrician, and he's going to be thrown down to the ground, eventually taken out right there. Now, that was a stasis smash from his teammate, so trying to mitigate the damage, but it obviously wasn't enough right there.
That was really good play. Yeah. That was really well played from Nas, because I can assure you that they checked Keeper's TP. He didn't have a TP on him.
Okay.
And they were like, look, we can fight. The worst situation that could happen is 5v4, but we're going to burst down Kinesis anyway, before she can do anything, so it's going to be 5v3. So that's just really good play from Nullstone. Like, they secured just that one extra kill just because they were relevant and aware of what the TP status was for BMG. So obviously they don't get the tier 2 tower, but I don't think they were really looking to get it. Maybe just trying to bait out some TPs or get a kill. So it's a good play coming up from them, and they can rotate over to the jungle now and farm up again.
15-minute mark coming up right here. You got Icon of the Goddess finished on well, not I almost said Oogie, but of course Dr. Pulsar picking it up. Oogie eventually, once again, I'm sure, but he has the Ring of Sorcery now on top of that Gnome's Wisdom that he picked up initially himself. How's the Alchemist Bone farm coming for good old Solstice? I mean, it's up to 380 gold per minute. He actually just bought something. What did he actually buy? Abyssal Skull coming out. So yeah, he's actually farming very well, as you would expect, again, with that Alchemist Bones pickup. And that's looking to be a pretty good start here for Nullstone, especially in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean, with this amount of farm as well, I'm pretty sure Solstice is going to be a lot more relevant than this Keeper of the Forest, because his route is going to be nullified complete from the Electrician, and yeah, his pushing potential and his Astrolabe is going to be nice, but compared to Solstice, particularly in the mid to late game, Solstice is going to offer just so much more, put simply. So yeah. I mean, and he's not slowing down either. So, but here comes the push from BMG. They've got the Portal Key on Kraken, or the Portal Key on their Initiator, Astrolabe on one of their supports, and then one kind of team fight item on their carry. That just means that they want to go. So.
Yep. Tower goes down, and that's with ease right there. Yeah, Keeper the Forest, his farm also definitely is up there, pretty much competing with that Solstice, as we see there, about 370 gold per minute as well. But they're going to continue this to that secondary tower. So now the question is, what will Nullstone Gaming do to react? It looks like they already are porting in. Yep, making sure.
The positioning on the tier 2 tower is just so much harder to really siege though. Oh, there's the TP going in though already.
I think that's Oogie right there. Magnus stuns in, catches, keeping the force. That is Oogie. Throws out some Tar Quake, seeing what he can make happen. Dr. Pulsar comes in, the mass control coming out, and Magnus will end up falling. No eruption to be had. Oogie with that Primal Surge, but the predictability from Rhapsody comes out. Then the background Solstice launches out his ultimate. Oogie's still barely alive, and that's the Primal Surge kicking it with the Tar Quakes. He stays alive. Can he actually get any turn kills? It doesn't look like it. The heal is strong here from Tankafet with that Ashalaven passing around that armor, so clearly too much. The charge gonna miss right there, just barely. Solstice, will he actually fall? Yes, he will. As the staccato stuns do catch him. Kinesis charging and going YOLO mode. Might backfire. It looks like it will in the end. Dr. Pulsar is out of mana. I don't know if BMG really wants to stress this too much more. Electrician's good to go. In fact, Kraken charges them back with him and now going to be caught out. There goes another Tarquake, and down goes Kraken. Dr. Pulsar, yeah, he oh man. Haxgren hung around way too long right there. Can he actually get away? Another Tarquake, not enough mana on Oogie currently. He's just barely out of mana. He has enough now. It's only a level 1 charge Tarquake though. Electrician is chasing. That one lands, not the most damage. It will, however, and that should be a kill when it's all said and done. So BMG's slightly overstaying their welcome right there, and it does backfire in the end.
I mean, not even slight. I mean, yeah, obviously that they overstayed their welcome, but this is because honestly, this the draft and the team fight from Nullstone Gaming. They don't have the greatest sort of burst or sort of big ultimates like the Keeper or the Kraken. They've just got great sustainability. Like, you know, with the Gnome's Wisdom and just Oogie himself, like he can be sustained in team fights so much better than Dr. Repulsor because like his Kindle Fury and his Primal Surge just give him so much regen in the team fights that, you know, if the team fights do last 20 to 30 seconds, you know, Nullstone Gaming will be ahead in terms of their team fights. The reason why it worked okay for BMG in the start is that they burst in on Magnus without him using Eruption, and because they, you know, they had a slight advantage on the start, but then, you know, the sustainability from Nullstone Gaming was clearly evident. Doctor had no mana and just doesn't offer anything without his mana, so Nullstone Gaming, just the longer the team fights last, the better they're going to be.
Yeah. That was a well played, definitely coming out from Nullstone Gaming, and the biggest thing too, Oogie, the fact that he remained to stay alive now, 2-1 and 3, 445 gold per minute. Again, continuing to excel on that gold per minute chart. And we've seen it before. We've seen it against the likes of Sinks. BMG had to face against it last week, as we mentioned, or last cycle even, as we mentioned. Again, they didn't ban the Yogi. We mentioned that, and sure enough, Nullstone Gaming took advantage, picks it up, and it looks like so far it's kind of backfiring on that decision not to ban the Yogi. But again, there's definitely still plenty of game left. We're only approaching 19 minutes here. It feels like it's honestly a little bit longer. Not the most action-intensive game. Obviously, it's been somewhat passive, only 10 hero kills in total. But that could pick up here, as in the middle lane, they're pushing this first tower. Oogie putting into the secondary Eruption coming out right here. That's going to be a level 2 Eruption. I'm all over the place. He jumps in, though, with the Eruption. The Stasis Smash on a Dr. Pulsar Protectability does come out. Root as well from Keeper of the Forest. Oogie cannot move right now. Primal Surge is up, though, and the Tarquakes are landing. Keeper of the Forest is going to end up falling. His teammate, in the meantime, does go down in Solstice, but the chase is on Dr. Pulsar right here. I apologize about my keybinds, guys. They got all messed up right there. But anyways, Doctor is going to be a beautiful hero blocking by Magnus, really slowing him down just enough. Haxgren is going to get caught by the static grip, and Haxgren is going to fall once again. So, I mean, the initiation, overall the AoE presence of this Hellbourne team is fairly strong, but Oogie, man, when he gets going, he just gets going. And a great Eruption start, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, like, there's two things that are working so well for the Nullstone. Like, the first one, as I mentioned before, is the sustainability. Like, when Keeper uses Root and Kraken uses, like, his ultimate as well, like, there's nothing else that really is offered in terms of the team fight, honestly. And Nullstone are so tanky that they can really withstand it. And then, obviously, like I said, they can sustain through these team fights. But secondly, like, pushing the T1 against the Solstice is so hard because he can land such a great ultimate. Like, he landed, I think, 2 or 3 with his Breath of Soul maxed out. Like, it was just so much damage going on to BMG that they couldn't really handle it, honestly. And as I said before, the sustainability break is just... They can't handle it. The tank meta, man, is working so well.
Yeah. So it's Nullstone Gaming, a big advocate of it, and continuing to make it really shine here. So Oogie, another 1,500 gold saved up. He has enough for the Icon of the Goddess, of course, if he wants to split up that Ring of the Sorcery, which, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually decides to hold on to it, but at the same time, he is heading back to base and probably will look to do that, start adding up those charges. Solstice top land, he's being chased down by Dr. Repulsor. The charge comes out from Kraken, and Solstice will end up falling. I'll tell you what, we've been seeing a lot of charge misses throughout this weekend so far. Even earlier in this game, but Super KG able to land that one pretty easily and manages to actually take out Solstice right there.
As well. So.
Well, oh, yeah, that's true.
Man, this mid tower needs to get denied, by the way. It's got like literally 2 HP.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Torture. Deny?
Where's oh, the middle lane here? Oh yeah, he's just like,
Yeah,
almost like he's
you got 2
baiting
HP
it, but that would be kind of silly for a solo torture to try to bait that out. Because not much he can do if they jump in. But I assume he's going to clear it as soon as he finishes this creep wave, but
who knows, man?
that would be kind of silly. Portal Key just picked up by Kinesis, by the way. Now, I'm a little curious about that. Is Portal Key your best option here, you think, for Kinesis? I would think something like a tablet probably makes more sense.
The reason why tablet's a little bit better is because you can tablet obviously out of Electrician's stun, and obviously help anyone. So the tower is denied, but yeah, you can tablet obviously out of Electrician's stun, which is actually causing a lot of problems, particularly to Doctor as well. Like I see him like 2 or 3 times getting picked up just because of the Electrician's grip, honestly. But also the tablet's quite nice, obviously, to sort of dodge any tar quakes as well. Portal Key's probably nicer for himself in terms of initiation, but I think tablet's probably a little bit better just for the team.
Torturer doing the whole just trying to simply counter word thing and eventually gets caught right there, so good catch by Kraken especially, doing a lot of work. Kinesis also throwing that burst, but yeah, so the Portal Key kind of working right there in a sense, but yeah, definitely tablet. It's safe to say, I think, still a good argument for that. Now, I will mention, Valorant is picked up by Torture, but we haven't actually seen it use this game. Go figure. You know, all of yesterday we were seeing it a lot, but
yeah, BMG were big advocates of it though, so
yeah. And Nullstone, you know, we didn't actually get to watch them yesterday. They got dropped out by freezing game 2-0. But again, they have it picked up here in Torture. It's just a matter of actually using it as we are entering this mid-game phase now. We'll have to wait and see. The top tower does go down. Is Oki going to be porting back to looks like the bottom lane now, however, and pick up his farm down there. Staff of the Master is actually getting close to finish on Electrician. We stressed that earlier. That's pretty important because, again, to reiterate, that actually will shock 2 additional nearby targets. So, you know, in the sense of 3 total, especially with that Keeper route coming out, you can purge yourself and 2 others, basically, to get you out of that Keeper route. So, very, very powerful tool, and definitely a big reason, I'm sure, why they picked up Electrician for what is game number 1 right here. Now, Dr. Pulsar not with his team, as the other 4 are in the Legion jungle. They do have a Keeper of the Forest, by the way, so perhaps that is some reasoning as to why they maybe aren't really stressing the Valid Rod here. Of course, in a sense, you know, somewhat similar. As Rev4 goes down, though, and that's where it's not the same, obviously, so has to be a little bit careful. Dust did come out, and that's going to be the cue to get the hell on out of there, so good job by Nullstone Gaming right there, being heads up and making sure they knew where they were. Doctor, by the way, got the light brand. He is going that Grimoire route here. So.
Yeah, I'm not. This could either. I think this could be like the right item choice or the wrong item choice, depending on what the sort of strategy is for BMG. If they want to start team fighting again because you know they've got Portal Key and Kraken and they've got Ashley and Keeper, if they want to keep continuing in terms of their team fights, then I think they should pick up like a sheep stick or a hellflower because like you need to lock down this Oogie because if you can let him go ham in team fights, he's just going to kill your whole team, put simply. And you know the sheep stick or the hellflower might be decent, sort of try and lock him down. But if they want to sort of sit back, try and go out sort of late game them, then probably the Grimmer's going to be a little bit better because you'd be able to farm a little bit better. Yeah. Just in that respect, but I don't know. It depends. We'll have to see what BMG are looking to do, honestly. The one issue is like, if they do want to go late game against it, it's like, well, I mean, Solstice. No, I can't catch Kinesis bottom lane. It's like they're going against Solstice and Oogie in the late game, whereas like BMG really only have Doctor and Pulsar. So, yeah. So in that respect, I think it's a little bit of a bad item choice, but we'll have to see if it's going to work or not, I guess.
Kinesis a little lucky that, I mean, maybe he just planned that, but that it's not nighttime, or that's not daytime here, I should say, because the W from Solstice not doing the damage to prevent a Portal Key use, whereas if it was daytime it would have, but...
He can ulti, though, with it would fear him, so that would stop TP.
Oh, well, I was saying more so to prevent the Portal Key that he used right away.
Yeah, no, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, so able to get away, though, so that's the point, but... Need to be a little careful right there, but yeah, we can kind of see why perhaps Onmi did like to go the Portal Key option. He's doing the split pushing top lane. Oogie, he's by himself. They need to TP in right now. They are. Can Oogie survive the damage coming out? He cannot. Now, can he buy back? He can actually. I wonder if he's going to right away. Nothing coming out just yet. The rest of the team is here though. He still has not bought back. There we go. There's the buyback. We'll be able to port in. Maybe Magma stunning him with the eruption. They're trying to catch somebody. They maybe catch Kraken a little bit. Solstice, his ultimate doesn't really hit anybody. They will kill Kraken though, as the rest of Reason Gaming completely falling back from one another. Now, Electrician, he's chasing somewhat, but can only get so far. Could be the Force also going to be fine. So, yeah, I mean, that's where the buyback really wasn't the best option there for Oogie.
Well, to be fair, if he didn't buy back, his whole team were most likely going to get wiped there. BMG saw the buyback and instantly got back. But obviously, sort of forfeited Kraken's life, but they'd take that trade, 10 times out of 10 kind of thing. And now with the buyback, like they didn't trade anything for it. I mean, unless they try and do Congo, but I don't think they're going to be able to kill it quick enough. They don't have the greatest Congo killing team, and Kraken is still dead. Oh, it's up in 20 seconds. So yeah, they're going to try and push on mid, but no objectives honestly sort of made with this buyback, honestly. So good trade come out from BMG.
Yeah, absolutely.
One less buyback on Oogie. But no, like, he had to buy back there, or his whole team would get wiped, put simply.
Yeah.
BMG just sort of retreated because Oogie bought back.
That really makes you, look at the GPM of Oogie right here and realize, well, considering that part of that has been used on a buyback now, definitely taking that into consideration. So, not as farmed in a sense, but still is up there as, really being the top in the game. And, showing here once again, he's got a Blessed Orb now and going to be looking to pick up an eventual Sheep Stick with that, I'm sure. So, Shrunken Head going to be coming out for Solstice. That's going to give him a lot of staying power in these fights, of course, and being able to be a lot more effectiveness. Now, as far as the Hellborn team goes, we talked about that Grimoire power. It's getting closer to being finished here for the Doctor Repulsor. 4,000 gold pulled up on Keeper of the Forest right here, so it's one of those cases of, he has an item slot, although I guess at this point, he could get rid of the Hatchet technically, still have room for a TP and perhaps a Sustainer or something like that, or even the Arcana, but decided to save up in full, at this point.
This is where it gets a little bit awkward, because if he goes Refresher, like, he's still going to get kind of countered by a lot with Electrician. Like, if he spends the 5.5k on an item that gets gets countered by one hero, then it's really not worth it. But at the same time, there's not much else he can really go unless he wants to start building Demonic Breastplate and Abyssal Skull. But at the same time, Ogi is doing mainly magical, so is the rest of Nullstone Gaming, and Solstice isn't really farmed enough to do a lot of physical damage. So yeah, this Keeper pick is just a little bit... Well, no, I wouldn't say the Keeper pick is questionable. It's just how good this Electrician is against him in that respect. Mm-hmm. And because not only does it sort of counter root, it sort of counters any kind of items that he would normally go for, particularly as there's a heavy magic damage presence here from Nullstone that he couldn't really go anything other than the Restoration Stone, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 4-second cooldown at level 16, or more so level 3 of Cleansing Shock, makes it pretty ridiculous, too, especially with that Staff of the Master effect, so... That's a very, very powerful tool, definitely. And, again, a big reason why I'm sure they picked up that Electrician. Top lane, who's up here? That's the Kinesis, again, making use of that portal key. It looks like he might be building up towards the tablet now, but he's just going to hide off into the jungle for the time being, trying to be sneaky right here and perhaps keep this creep wave from being crazy pushed out, as it's exactly what Nullstone's going for right here. Making sure to push that out and try to get some push at that top secondary tower. That is the only outer tower remaining right now in their favor. Middle lane, Magnus, they should be fine. Yeah, portal keys away. Going to be good in the end. As far as the Legion team goes, they actually have all of their secondary towers still up at the time being, so that's good news for Nullstone once again. Kinesis ports out just in time. Magnus was running in. Couldn't get there in time, though, so able to get away. As I say that, the secondary tower bottom happens to go down. It was actually pretty low, so Dr. Repulsor takes advantage of that and eventually cleans it up. Kraken has enough for his Shrunken Head now. He has 2,900 gold with that Mighty Blade, so it's just a matter, though, of the Courier's all the way back at base and doesn't necessarily want to spend that gold just yet, knowing that he wouldn't have it right away. So, but that is coming here. And as far as that Restoration Stone, I mean, you talked about, it's not going to be of maximum use this game compared to others, perhaps, but probably still going to get it in the end. So
I know this might sound strange, but I think an pickup that might not be too bad is either Hellflower or Sheepstick. The reason being is because Restoration Stone is semi-countered by Electrician. The armor isn't too useful in this game, in terms of breastplate or Frostfield Plate, for example, not very strong. But Sheepstick would be decent just in terms of extra lockdown for Oogie. 3 seconds of sort of lockdown for him could be the difference between him dying or sort of surviving just because of the amount of turn potential you have with the hero. Hellflower might be even a little bit better because it lasts a little bit longer. But at the same time, he can still run away. So
well, this is, an item that we haven't seen a whole lot of as he does get the Restless Stone, but honestly, we don't see a whole lot of Barrier Idol nowadays. And I know a lot of that has to do with, with that strategy of the Ophelia, keeping those big push strategies, the Stay Green-esque style is not really prevalent anymore, perhaps, but Barrier Idol, I mean, if there's any team that screams Barrier Idol to go against, it's this Legion team right here. It seems like that would be a powerful tool, but
I mean, normally Barrier Idol is more picked up just for the creeps, really, in terms of than for the heroes. The buff in terms of the absorbing magic damage is more for the creeps, so they can't get sort of killed or cleared in terms of when you're pushing up high ground. Because it's only it is 400 damage though, so it is quite a lot to be fair. But normally it's only going to hit 2 or 3 important heroes, and I guess it is a decent iron pickup. But we normally only see it for pushing high ground normally. Yeah. That's the reason why.
Well, again, so we're not really seeing it, and again, it's obviously a good chunk of gold that you would invest to it. In this case, going towards the Restless Stone instead. So It's obviously a good discussion to be had there, but I do find it a little curious still that we just don't see anymore, it seems like. But apparently, Trent's going to reconnect here as we're sitting in the pause once again. So wonder if we have any updates on the other series, as we're now 30 minutes into this one here. The other series, of course, Prime Icarus versus Shrek is Love. Ooh, it looks like Prime Icarus takes game number 1 over there against Shrek is Love. So they're trying to remain here in Diamond. They've been here a couple times, have been knocked out a couple of those times, back down to Gold. But a win here would allow them to stay, of course. And, you got some solid players over there, the likes of Certes, Shorkin, Snooey, of course, Slaske Direct.
And Ogre as well.
And Shrek is Love, obviously, very good team themselves. They've kind of proven that, again, they upset BMG in the first round, as we pointed out last cycle. So clearly a team that has good potential. So, one of those teams going to be knocked down to Gold. And right now, Prime Icarus in the better spot. We'll see if they can remain to be in the lead and eventually take the series or not. But that's being covered over there by St. Rocks, twitch.tv/St. Rocks. Check out that series. But back to this one here. You got the top lane. Oogie, he has that full sheep stick finished, and that's a very, very powerful tool, especially against the likes of the Doctor's Distress. So that's good for them to have here. They definitely want to get this Electrician level 16, though, I would think, because, again, the cooldown especially is the best part there.
Yeah, it is the best, because if it's level 8, the rest on Keeper will be useful kind of thing, but level 4, then you can almost do 2 Cleansing Storms in one team fight kind of thing, or in 2 sort of different routes kind of thing, but at level 8, you'll at least get 1 route off in terms of Keeper the Forest, but we'll have to see. Oh, here he comes.
Top lane, Doctor and Pulse are going in. It's just the Torture. That's what they wanted. Root comes out for Keeper the Forest. There's that perch that we're talking about, though. The second Root going to be coming out right there. Okay, he doesn't have the perch just yet. Going to use locked in on Keeper the Forest. Oogie with that problem surge. Background Solstice puts out his ultimate. Not the most damage, so can Oogie stay alive? He's trying to. He's running around. Finally gets some tar pits off. The eruption of the speed channel is not going to be interrupted. Doing some decent damage, but the Shrunken Head's up, so probably not the most in the end. Not as much as they wanted. So far, Torturer and Rhapsody, the only ones dead. A support for support. Ow. Somehow that is it. Magnus wants to still go. Misses the stun right there, and that will probably be the end. But at least they should get the tower, so still a victory for Nullstone from that perspective. But I don't know how everyone lived but the supports right there. That was ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. I guess it's the Ashlevel Keeper and the Shrunken on Kraken. And then obviously just the tanky nature of Nullstone was the reason why. Yeah. But still, I think it was a decent trade, though, because they got the Tier 2 tower. So Nullstone is still trading more favourably in that respect.
Well, we were just talking about it before that fight. That's a perfect example right there. If he has the 4-second cooldown on that ultimate, that's a lot different, because Oogie would have had a lot more free reign earlier on in that fight. He got locked down.
We literally just were talking about it, which is quite funny. Yeah, and he couldn't ulti the second time, but at least Electrician can still actually static grip, through the route. So he was doing at least something in that respect.
Yeah. Solstice will go back into the jungle somewhat. I think it's ward aside here by Fine and going to spot some information. Good information to be had for BMG, but nothing over the top. Not going to make use of it, at least for the time being. Of course, Conqueror is up, not been attempted yet, 33 minutes in, so keep an eye on that. Of course, BMG has that Hellborn advantage in a sense, but Legion team could definitely take it if they get a good opportunity here. Double damage room picked up by Torturer before anyone else can.
Sheepstick on Oogie now as well, actually. So did he have that in the last team fight?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, yeah. So Doctor is going to be a little bit of danger, because normally, I mentioned it before, if you have Sheepstick plus a portal key, it doesn't even matter if the enemy carry has a shrunken head, but obviously Oogie doesn't have a portal key. But that isn't too big of a deal, because Doctor Repulsor is still going to be in the team fights, but he won't be able to, he doesn't have a shrunken head in that respect. So, Oogie can just walk in and Sheepstick in if he's in the team fight, which is definitely a little bit scary for Doctor Repulsor. I'm pretty sure shrunken head will be the next item of choice just because of this Sheepstick here. Also, the Electrician static grip is causing him a lot of problems as well, as I mentioned before, but normally with Doctor Repulsor, though, you want to have at least 2 mana items, like with the Grimmer and Icon, because if you go 1 mana item plus a Shrunken Head, you really do lose a lot of mana in that respect. So I do like his item choice, actually.
Yeah.
Perhaps the Sheepstick would be better than the Grimmer, but that's Hackstrin thing, I guess.
Well, something else I find it kind of funny about what Hackstrin's doing here. He's actually, he literally just sold it right as I was about to say it. He actually had the Pretender's Crown this whole time. Since the beginning of the game, basically. He actually just sold it, though, to buy a Shrunken Head, so it's just one of those kind of amusing things. I mean, he had it earlier on, but yeah, exactly. Just hey, minor stats. Might as well, if you got a slot open, I guess. But no, he's got a Shrunken Head now, as you're pointing out, so that's, of course, makes a lot of sense here. They got him and Kraken now with Shrunken Heads. Nobody else just yet, of course. You can argue maybe Kinesis eventually, but again, a secondary support over here. Or that's more so suicide is what he was running. But, not getting the most farm is the point. So don't expect that anytime soon. The other thing, we keep talking very defensive here for Electrician, and sure, that's the ultimate reason, I'm sure. Well, you got the staff, the pickup of the Electrician to kind of counter the keeper route, even the double route. But at the same time, it can also be used offensively pretty effectively. I mean, the fact that it changed to 2 board targets, you're looking at 3 different targets that are going to be pretty heavily slowed as a result of the Cleansing Storm ability. So, if you're chasing people down, it's going to be very powerful for that tool in itself. So, something else to keep in mind.
I do know what you mean, but at the same time, there won't be a lot of chasing outside of maybe chasing Kinesis or Keeper, for example.
It does purge
will just
too,
die.
don't forget, in terms of things like the Keeper Shield, the Kinesis Shield, I want to say it probably even purges too, so things like that.
I don't think so. The inherent defense, I don't think is a buff.
Is it not a buff? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I'm about 80% sure. I don't think it might though, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like Keeper, Nature's Vow does get. That's true though. It's not just about the moves, but it's obviously the debuff as well.
Yeah. So you're removing the 10 armor as well as the health regen, pretty powerful tool as well. So.
I think it's more getting rid of the invis, honestly, at times.
Well, you know what it's really for though? It kills the Keeper trees.
Yeah, that's why.
The tree dogs there.
That's literally why.
That's
They're doing Congo Noah now, and this is going to be quite a big deal though, because I think Nullstone have got to a point where they're hitting their power curve now. They've got Shrunken on Solstice and Magmus. Oogie's got good enough farm to be such a big beast in the sort of the late game. And BMG, they need the sort of token to really do anything in these team fights, because Doctor needs to go ham in these team fights, because as we've mentioned before, the Keeper route is getting nullified quite heavily from Electrician. Keeper, Kraken isn't doing too much, but they're going in here.
Torture, sayonara, but can they respond to the question? Magnus pops a Shrunken ahead, he's already jumped in. Not the best follow-up, the root comes out, it did not catch Oogie, however, so he's going to be fine for now. He gets the eruption off because of that Shrunken head. Oogie doing one, he can't protect the melody though, could be used, and Oogie cannot stop that unless it kills him, which he will right there. The Purge not used just yet, Oogie is locked down, Electrician finally comes in, he didn't actually purge though, but it doesn't matter, he's going to lock down Kinesis right there, and they get 3 kills. There's that Cleansing Storm that we're talking about. Doctor and Bolster trying to get the hell on out of there, Electrician chasing, but Doctor is going to be able to ludicrous speed away. Can Kraken get away? He's got a portal key coming up, and it looks like he should be able to use it in time. Unless a Tarquake. No, he couldn't get it off in time, so
my God, man. The team fight of Nullstone is so ridiculous. Like, they were fighting against Token, and also they were fighting 4v5 because Electrician was farming the enemy jungle. Like, he had to run all the way to the team fight, but just because they're so tanky, like in terms of Nullstone, that they can sustain these team fights. Like, yeah, they blow up Torture and they blow up Magmus, but that's with the Kraken and Keeper route. But after they're done, like, Nullstone just gonna wreck them. Like, as long as Nullstone can withstand the first 5 to 10 seconds of the initiation from BMG, they're not gonna lose team fights, Breaky. And this goes back to the draft. Honestly, I mentioned it. They didn't have the damage outside of their initial initiation from BMG.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Repulsor is kind of fun, but he simply doesn't do enough. He's not like a hard carry like Dark Lady or Gemini or Silhouette. He's like Doctor Repulsor doesn't do enough damage to really cut through these tanky lineups. Honestly,
so that leads to discussion. We've seen it before, like a Savage Mace on a Doctor, but the problem is, though, he didn't go the Hellflower route, and that's where the Savage Mace would actually benefit a little bit more, make more sense, because the attack speed increase, the damage that you get from the Hellflower as well, it helps really make your right-click auto attacks that much more powerful. I mean, sure, Grimoire Power does that, but I think it's safe to say probably not as strong as a Hellflower would have. That on top of the Savage Mace. So.
Also, Grimoire doesn't do anything to sort of lock down Oogie, which I think is the biggest problem, though, because as long as he's using spells, then he's surviving in these team fights, and like the sustainability of Nullstone does need to be addressed. Like, whether it's bursting them down in the meantime, which I don't think is really possible because they're nearly 3,000 HP, or getting enough DPS to really cut through the sustainability. And Grimoire isn't one of those items, unfortunately.
Yeah. So maybe looking back at that, but hey, you gotta obviously stick with it for the time being, and you gotta move forward from here. It's not something you can really look back on too much. What's done is done. But
I mean, I think the game plan here from BMG is they have to make some kind of YOLO plays, honestly. Like, try and get a pick off perhaps on the Oogie. Like, he just brought out on the Frostwolf score, and I know he's so damn tanky, like 3.6k HP, but like they're not winning team fights from now on. As long as Nullstone don't misplay, which obviously is a potential, honestly. But I think BMG have to assume Nullstone won't misplay in their team fights, and therefore we can't take team fights because they're stronger than us at the moment. We've got to find some cute kind of plays in terms of pickoffs, in terms of YOLO plays, because they're not going to win standard 5-on-5 team fights. Whether Dr. Repulsor has a token or not, I don't think they're winning team fights. This Hellflower might do something because they might be able to lock down Oogie, but still he's got 3.4 thousand HP breaky, and I just don't know how they're going to drop him. But they are going to rotate up to lane. But honestly, I'm more worried for BMG than I am for Nullstone Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, Nullstone's kind of been in the lead too, and 6,800 goldie, 6,000 experience lead. It's nothing too big, especially now nearly 40 minutes into the game. But
Oogie doesn't have a buyback though, so they've got ways to sort of play this.
Doesn't have a buyback, but he does have 3,600 lives, exactly. And with the primal surge, it's like you're really gonna kill him. That's the tough part, as we keep going back to. So
I like what they're doing.
Slowly push here.
Like, look at being like, Super KG's been sort of sitting up here for the last minute or two, and like looking for the pick-off kind of thing. Like he knows that we can't take this late, so there's no point in even farming kind of thing. Like although we might be losing in terms of the farm for the next minute or two, if I get a pick-off, that could be a lot more important than me just AFK farming. He's going to go back to the sort of lane now, but that's because he doesn't want to sort of sit there the whole time. But just understanding that they need to do something because farming is not going to get them back into the game.
Yeah. So you see right here, Oogie moving to the top lane now as the Hellborn team does retreat. 500 gold per minute on Doctor, but again, that only means so much, with the item skill set. Sure, he gets the Hellflower now, but bottom lane, Magnus able to catch Kinesis right there with the stun eruption combo coming out. So able to catch her before she must have been at least some. I guess she really doesn't have the most life either. So yeah, just a good job by Magnus taking advantage of the level 3 eruption right there. And enough damage to get the job done and then get the hell on out of there. But I was going to say, again, the Hellflower picked up on Dr. Polster. So, hey, if he could definitely get the Savage Mace now, especially, after the Token of Life despawns here, which is going to be coming up here shortly. Yeah, 2 seconds, 1 second, there we go. Now, he has a lot of farm before that would happen, but if he manages to get a Savage Mace now with the Grimoire and the Hellflower, it's actually going to be pretty scary, honestly. I mean, that's a lot of right-click damage from a hero that's constantly flying around and very, very hard to lock down. Granted the sheep sticks and whatnot, but so that's where the potential, I think, is definitely there for BMG. So I know we're saying, like, as far as the late game, they really don't want to go there, but it looks like they're kind of going for that strategy now.
Yeah.
And I kind of see it having a chance, but
yeah, it's better than them trying to team fight now. It's better than them team fighting now, kind of thing. Because if they delay the game, then they have more potential to make these pickoffs happen. If they go team fight now, then obviously they can't take any kind of pickoffs. Like, they reduce their options, kind of thing. If they delay the game, there's more potential to win the game. Whether they have the strongest late game or not, if they increase their timing in this game, they have more potential to win, put simply. And I think if they took a team fight right now, right here, they could lose a game just from that sort of push. So it makes sense, of course. And I mean, maybe BMG are a little bit more experienced team than Nullstone Gaming, so they might make the better team decisions as well. Because I think it's definitely certain that Nullstone do have the better late game, but that doesn't mean they're going to win. Put simply, if it goes to the late game, there's a lot of other sort of team decisions to be sort of made.
Yeah, of course.
In that,
as usual here. So. But the late game is owned by Oogies. Yeah, I know we've talked about that before. Nullstone themselves, they actually like longer games. They're usually pretty good. And a lot of that probably has to do with Oogie.
I think Oogie has before 30 minutes it's like 0-5, but after 30 minutes it's like 5-0. I think that was the stat.
It's something like that.
Something like that. It's quite funny.
It's kind of interesting because we've talked about that. It's like you think he's kind of a snowball style hero that gonna get that early start and finish the game sooner than later on paper, but as we've seen, and that's definitely changed a lot of people's idea of, I'm sure, what Oogie really brings to the table. That, hey, this is a hero that really can contest late game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Who's now seen several times, and by different teams too. It's not just Beaverbanger. I know who has also ran it. I mean, Trees ran it a couple times. I believe Baltazar, and I think Don maybe ran it once or twice. But anyways, I think Tree was the other team that was actually ran it a couple times. Ceratus also. Okay, yeah, that's right. Known to run it. So. I think that was last as well. So, yeah. So obviously, there's a lot of pauses early on. I'm not sure what it was about, but just like pauses of like 5 seconds that would all of a sudden, be ready and unpause. So, and again, it's hard for us to sit here and say like, oh, they shouldn't be doing that because who knows if somebody's like mouse DC'd, obviously you can't blame them for pausing. But at the same time, you do got to be a little careful when throwing the pauses out. But. So Cholo Simeon going to have to reconnect here, and then eventually going to be good to go, and hopefully don't run into any issues with that as a result. Again, Prime Maker is up 1-0 in their series over Shrek is Love. I assume they're in Game 2 by now. Let's take a look here. Macera, there we go. Yep, they just started game 2, it looks like. Whoa, Prime Icarus going heavy push game 2. They got Soul Reaper, Ophelia, and Keeper on their side with a Magnus Pyromancer.
Oh, God.
And then Shrekazlov actually has some good counter push, though. Some more even push themselves. They got Bubbles, Rhapsody, Tempest, Puppet, and Kraken. So
they have more team fight than split like counter push. Like Bubbles is the only sort of counter push in that game, to be fair. But they got a good team fight though. Like if it's kind of like team fight, almost semi counters push, unless push is so early that you don't have the items, kind of thing. Because if like Kraken and Tempest picked up the portal keys there, then they can sort of start team fighting. But if the push happens at like level 6, then there's nothing they can really do.
43 minutes in here. Again, 16-12 hero kill lead. Not the most action-packed game here as far as a lot of kills happening, but there's definitely been some very good fights that have happened throughout this game right here. So as the Hellborn team continues to clean up their own jungle here, you got Electrician in the front lines. Again, he's got a sheepstick now as well, so him and Ogi both with their sheepsticks. And all 5 of them gathering up in the middle right here. Congress got to be coming up here shortly. I know we mentioned Doctor's token of life where we're out. It seems like 2 or 3 minutes ago now, so got to be coming up here pretty quick. Top lane? No, there's not. I thought there might have been somebody up there, but no, they're just kind of pushing it in because all 5 in Nullstone there are pushing that middle, and finally starting to break into the base for the first time this game. So, gonna see if they can get anything to fall back, and they do. So, pick up on that information. Not gonna force too much here. Again, I would assume if anything they're gonna kind of try to box them in their base right now, and then eventually go to Kongor. I like to try to make something happen over there. So apparently hacks are having issues. But as we clearly stated, unfortunately no more pauses left. So hopefully just kind of have to play through it.
Oh, they could have asked for a remake at the start of the server.
I know,
so.
yeah, it's
Well, start of the game, sorry.
There's definitely different ways to look at it, but Ogi's
game, the show must go on.
Well. Exactly, that's the ultimate point right here. So. Demonic Breastplate finish on Solstice. 2,800 gold saved up on Oogie, so he has enough for buyback. Worst case scenario. Doctor is getting up there with his goal, 3,200 gold. Like I was saying, I'm pretty sure that's in Hackstron's mind as well. You know, what is it exactly? It's like 54, yeah, 5,400 to get a full Savage Mace here. So, but then of course there's the case of a buyback.
I think you should go maybe Savage and then set its icon and get a sheepstick. Because if they get like a Hell Flat and a sheepstick, that's like nearly 8 seconds of lockdown. Like it's like 7.75, but it's practically 8 seconds of lockdown onto Oogie, and that could be enough to drop him. Every single time I look at Oogie, though, he has like more and more HP. It's ridiculous. Now he's got 3.8k HP. I know this sounds ridiculous, but if you can't kill him, like, it's just going to be so hard to really win these team fights. I mean, obviously the other strategy could be sort of killing the rest of Nullstone, but even that is kind of hard.
Oh, here we go. Kinesis actually going to jump in as Oogie was running around. Root comes out as well. Big team fight initiation. Drummer Root going to be happening right there. Oogie joins the party, though. He does get hit by the second one. Protected Melody comes out, but Oogie, he is still well alive and looking to do some damage. Dr. Pulsar is flying around, however. It's so far a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of BMG, but it looks like Nullstone still fighting strong. Magnus does it. Gets going Kinesis, and Oogie once again, he is still good to go. Can they kill Magnus at least? Yes, they can. Can Oogie make it happen, though? Doctor is getting low on mana. Needs to be careful with that. Okay, going into Keeper the Force. Keeper the Force will melt. And now Doctor pulls his turn. Oh, a lot of damage. There's another Tar Pig coming out. Tar Pig, whatever it's called. Doctor will fall. And Oogie clearly is so too ridiculous. Powerful with the hat trick.
This is what I mean, Breaky. Like I said, there's one other strategy. You know, try and kill the rest of Nullstone's team. They did that, and Oogie literally 4v1 them the whole time. Breaky, like, yeah. Oh goodness, Breaky, just. This hero
doing his thing the whole time while the rest of his teammates are falling. It's like, I don't even care. It's
so
tough, man.
So strong.
He really is turning to be one of the stronger late game carries that we've seen. I mean, as far as a hero is
I think
concerned.
Like the only people that can really go toe-to-toe with him is like the hard carries, and Dr. Pulse is one of those hard carries. Like, you know, even like Kronos or like Silhouette or, you know, Dark Lady or even like Moon Queen. Those are the ones that are gonna sort of go toe-to-toe with Oogie, but we don't really see them too much now because you know they're kind of weak in the laning phase, they're kind of weak mid game. But like Oogie is good in all those stages. Like, he's good in the laning phase, good in the mid game, and obviously late game carry as well. So I mean, if you're against Nullstone Gaming, it's as simple as that. You need to ban Oogie, and it went in through the second banning phase as well, didn't it? I think, and they still didn't ban him. So.
Yep, no. They pointed that out, and look at this, a free kill for Oogie. Kinesis didn't stand a chance. As soon as that first Turkwood came out in the sheepstick, he's like, all right, I'm going to die right here.
I think it's just exactly what happened with BMG last time. Like, in game 1, Oogie like wrecked him, and then game 2 they banned it, and it's like, well, why would you give it to him in the first place? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's BMG's own fault kind of thing, and obviously Nullstone, if they're going to leave it open, they're going to pick it, and unless you have like an actual address counter to Oogie, then this is what's going to happen to you.
I will say Sync left Oogie open even after losing to Oogie the first time they met in the the winter bracket finals last cycle. In the grand finals, that first game, I remember mentioning that, and they picked up Oogie, and then Sync went on to win it, fairly easily. They actually locked him down. They did a pretty good job, and went to win that game.
They addressed it though.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that my point being, I wonder if BMG maybe had that same idea of like, okay, we're gonna let them pick Oogie, almost bait them into it. We got an idea how to stop it, and it didn't really work out here. Yeah,
like the reason what like Sync did in the last game is that they didn't allow Oogie to get anything. They aggressive dual laned against it, and I think Nullstone had like a greedy jungler. I think they had Tempest as well. So like Oogie was kind of shut down that laning phase and wasn't able to get any kind of farm. We're going in though.
Yeah, keeping the forest going in the background. Once again, Rune coming out right here. Release the Kraken. There's that second Rune. Torture going to be caught up, but look at Oogie tearing through Kinesis, and is going for more now. Keeping the forest going to spell victim. The eruption comes off, and down goes Keeping the forest. Dr. Bolster completely out of mana. He went Harkons, by the way, trying to make use of that. He actually is hitting pretty hard with that right click. He may kill Mavis. No, he gets stunned by Solstice, and it cannot chase him down. Oogie is still well alive, even with the token. There's a protective melody. It is going to save a little bit, but down goes Rhapsody, and Doctor will fall when it's all said and done. Another double tap coming out for Beaverfinger, then making a hat trick, making a quad kill. Not going to be a quad kill, but GG, well played. Game 1 going to Nullstone Gaming here. The power of Oogie is real, man.
Oh, goodness.
Power of Oogie is real. Okay, ban Oogie.
I don't know,
Strat number 1 against Nullstone.
You've got to address it, though, and like, I mean, we've seen other teams pick up Oogie and they don't have the same effectiveness, but when Nullstone do it, they just seem to just dominate with it. And it's just like, I don't know whether it's they forgot about it or they didn't think Oogie was that big of a deal or Nullstone could play it, but at the same time, that's their sort of foresight completely. That's sort of the oversight of them. Like they really didn't address it or didn't put enough. They didn't respect the Oogie pretty much, and that's what it's all. Got wrecked by it, Breaky.
Yeah, that's that they did.
And in this game, like they played like a standard normal game from BMG, and like when you're going against Oogie or Nullstone Gaming in particular, you have to have particular strategies, particular drafts going against them. And in this draft from BMG, it just seems so standard and so normal that whoever they would play against, they'd pick this kind of lineup, and that can obviously come back to bite you as it did in this game. So.
Take a Fed again. I'm sure going to eye that Oogie in the next game, and I would not be surprised to see it as far as one of those first 2 bans here to be coming out, because you just probably just don't want to deal with it, even if they have another idea. It's just like, let's just not even give them that comfort hero. Sure, there's others that open up, but it just seems like Oogie has been Nullstone's winning tool as of late here in Haunt Tour Season 3 throughout these last couple cycles. So, game number 2, speaking of that, obviously going to be at a short break right here, but game number 2 going to be coming at you just around the corner. Bad Monkey Gaming versus Nullstone. Nullstone up 1-0. Will we see a game 3, or will Nullstone make it happen here in 2 games? Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be right back here on Hauntcast.